Welcome to the Autosportradio.com 2017 show. The show is presented by Honda, Honda HPD, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and the Verizon IndyCar Series. You got computer trouble, which I seem to have on a daily basis. I highly recommend, because it's where I go check out Computer Overdrive. They're at Lyndhurst and Crawfordsville Road next to a barber shop. And Jack can fix anything. So if you've got a problem, give him a call, find out when he's available, and he can help you. Trust me. Number's 317-328-0766. And for those of you who haven't heard, Autosport is now streamed live on Twitter and Facebook in addition to YouTube. So if somebody has trouble in one, they can find it in one of the other openings. How many went to the race in Watkins Glen? 5 people. Okay. How many watched it on television? How many liked the pole winner? How many liked the winner? Boy, the answer to those 2 questions are a lot different than they've been the last couple of weeks. I found it interesting during the television broadcast in particular. The talent on air talent said that they thought Honda was going to be at a disadvantage with the aero kit they had. And I sent a message to the communications director of Honda and said, I don't think that's going to be the case. Lucky for me, I was right, because Honda looks spectacular. And I think they woke people's attention and went, whoa. So this coming race in 2 weeks out in Sonoma should be interesting. And I think if we're not careful, Scott can win number 5. I also want to make a mention, everybody's number 1 doctor visit probably is a dentist. Well, Dr. Jack has been here a couple times and talked about his service. And when she needed to have some dental work, she said, I want to go and try them. I'm here to tell you that the Indy Dental Group is spectacular. I called and made the appointment. They were very nice. She went in there and they treated her like a queen. It was phenomenal. If you have a problem with dental work, check out the Indy Dental Group. Dr. Jack Miller and his wife, Dr. Liz Lewis, have a fabulous setup. You'll love it. Now, my first guest is here. I don't know what he's doing, but he is here somewhere. Where'd he go? Oh, there he is. Come on. He has just completed his second IndyCar event. He started, his first event was, I think, the Indianapolis 500, kind of a dream of everybody. He is driving the final 2 races for Schmidt Peterson Motorsports, and he just came back from Watkins Glen, where he performed extremely well. Qualified 18th, finished 14th, and he put the car in a trailer in one piece. Next event, Sonoma, California. It's great to see him back and doing well. Please welcome Mr. Jack Harvey. When you weren't in the car, what have you been doing?
Just hanging out,
Oh,
chilling, PlayStation, eating food.
What? PlayStation?
I know. What have I been doing? I've been working hard to try and get back in the car.
Yeah, well.
So it's, we got the deal with Sam. He called us and asked us if we wanted to do Watkins Glen and Sonoma. And, I mean, who doesn't want to do those 2 tracks? At the end of the year, I'll have driven at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Watkins Glen and Sonoma. I mean, nothing to complain about in my life right now. A lot of things to be grateful for and thankful for, and obviously get to see you as well. And you're looking so good, so you know.
Thank you very much.
I heard everybody. It was like a tumbleweed there. Everyone was like, "Oh, really? Okay."
Have you driven any sports cars in your off time, or are you strictly you want an IndyCar career? Period.
I mean, I like driving cars quickly. That's what I want a career in. I mean, right now, I've been quite lucky with some of the sponsors that we have, and I mean, they make it pretty clear they want to do IndyCar as well, and you know, that's the dream. It's what they want to do. All the pieces of the jigsaw are heading in that direction. So while they are, we'll keep pursuing it, and then you know, I have from the 500, maintained a really good relationship with Michael Shank. So, I mean, we'll see if there's some sports car opportunities. Again, the dream is to try and drive a car quickly and get paid for it. So, I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter to me really if it's an IndyCar, sports car, whatever. It's right now I'm driving a team minivan, so I think anything north of my minivan would be a pretty good situation. Look like a soccer mum out there.
I know Michael Shank has made it clear he wants to get into IndyCar full time. Have you kept in touch, and is he still leaning that way?
Maybe.
Michael's
a great guy. I thoroughly enjoyed doing the 500 with him, and having spent that month with him, completely understand why he's a successful guy. Everything he does. So, if he wanted to try and go IndyCar racing, I certainly hope that I would get a phone call and be like, "Hey, what are your plans?" and see if there's something we could do together. If not, then I know Michael will be successful regardless.
Is it difficult to get in now? Now, Watkins Glen is a permanent road course, obviously, but it's fast.
Yeah.
As Joseph Newgarden figured out coming out of the pit, you don't want to.
I actually didn't even see what happened there. I still haven't seen it.
He came out on cold tires and was a little hot, and he hit the guardrail and bounced back, and then I forget, Tony, was it Kanan or somebody hit him in the back?
Oh, really?
Or Bourdais slammed into him from behind. And then I think
sounds like a
TK
disaster.
did too, somewhere. A number of cars had a little bit of a problem, but
Yeah, I got the feedback sheet from the weekend, and one of the things they said was your pit out speed could have been quicker. So maybe I'll send them the footage and be like, this could have happened too. So balance.
to have been out of the car since May and a big oval, now you come to a road course. Was that a big adjustment?
I mean, I would be lying to say it was an easy transition. Before Indy, the last time I'd been in the car properly was Laguna 2015. Was the last time I drove on a road course race weekend. So that's only been 2 years. Somehow people don't think it's been that long, which is great because they still see me as someone who's, young and current, which, we try to be. Getting the 500, I think, was a great refresher, and it was the Indy 500. I mean, there is nothing bigger or better to move on from that. But, certainly when I got the call to do the Glen and it got confirmed, I was as excited to go there. I mean, although I wasn't alive to see it, I've watched all the old videos of when Sir Jackie Stewart raced at the Glen. So even before I came to North America, I knew what Watkins Glen was all about. I know how historic it is and the significance it has to the motorsporting world, not just here, but worldwide. So suddenly I was like, my first 2 IndyCar races are the Indy 500 and Watkins Glen. I mean, I don't want one person ever to feel bad that, I had a bit of time out of the car or, from May to now I've not had too much to do, because this is still awesome, in my opinion. And I'm pretty sure everybody here, if they could, would trade me in a heartbeat. So, it was a tough transition, but road courses are what I'm used to. From coming to Europe, it was the biggest thing I was nervous about was, although I work out all the time, is being physically car fit. There's a big difference between being fit in the gym, but then when you're going just through the bus stop and then that really quick right-hander, and it's like 3.5 or 4 Gs, and your neck's just going, no! I wanted to make sure that I was physically ready for the race, and I got out of the car and I felt fine. I woke up on Monday, I wasn't sore, so I think we kind of achieved everything we wanted to. Like you said, we brought the car home in one piece, and after how Indy kind of played out, which running over some debris, you can't always account for these things, but at the end of the day I still didn't see the checkered flag, and that was a big bummer. Where this weekend we actually were able to see the checkered flag, and we had some pretty good speed at the end, and all I'm trying to do right now is show all the teams, whether it's in IndyCar or the top of the sports car world, is that I can do this. I believe in myself. That's given the opportunity, I can do a good job. I thought I did a decent job at Indy. I think we've done another good job in the Glen. We'll try and finish it off well at Sonoma, and then see if we can find a home for next year.
Any chance that you and Sam could get together next year?
Maybe. Sam's great, for anyone who's followed me or hasn't followed me, I raced in 2 years in Indy Lights with Sam in his team, Schmidt Peterson Motorsports. I get on really well with him, really well with Rick Peterson. So although we did the Indy 500 with Andretti, going back and racing with Sam was just kind of like going home. So many, although there were some new faces, so many familiar ones where that transition was easy. And again, I know what a good race team they have. To be teammates with Hinch would be pretty cool as well. So, I mean, we'll see. One step at a time. We'll worry about Sonoma first and then see where we land next year.
You have driven Sonoma, haven't you?
My first IndyCar test, in fact, yeah.
How do you like that place?
First time I drove an IndyCar, so I remember it very fondly.
It's an interesting course. It's got a lot of elevation, a lot more than you realized. You get there and see it, you go, holy, that's big elevation changes. And when they what's his face bought the track, there was hill in the middle of the thing. So if you sat on one side, you couldn't see. So we took all that out of there and moved it around. So now you can sit in most of the way around and see everything. It's an interesting track, but it's also, you got to be careful.
Well, it's on like the side of a mountain or a hill, so it's pretty amazing. Like you said, the elevation changes is drastic actually at Sonoma. Some of the corners there are extremely high commitment. Maybe I think as committed, or you have to be as committed as you were at the Glen. Maybe not for as much of the lap, but Sonoma is just an awesome place. I think. I raced there in Indy Lights. I won both the races there from pole. My first IndyCar test was there. So, I mean, we're going into Sonoma, obviously having a good weekend at the Glen, a little bit of momentum, feeling more comfortable all the time. Not that previous success means you're going to have success, but, I think we're feeling quite okay at the moment.
I got to think that you have, just listening to you and having talked to you over the last couple of years, you have confidence in your ability to drive a car. The only secret to it is you got to have one to drive.
Yeah.
And you're getting in cars. One of the important things is that your engineers and your mechanics got to understand what you need, so you can go fast. And
I think the accent throws them off as well.
Really?
Miscommunication all the time.
Oh. But it's never ceased to amaze me how you can get in a car and get it set and they get the thing, everything you want. And you put Hinch in the car, you say, holy Toledo, you're going to die in this thing.
Thank you.
How different drivers are and how different they like the car set. I find that kind of interesting.
Yeah, from what the team told me, before Mikhail left the team, him and James drove significantly different cars. Me and James actually seemed to drive the cars pretty similarly. We were looking for the same improvements from the team on the car to, try and be quicker. So I think together we could kind of push each other forward in the same direction. But, it is really interesting. And even if you go-karting, you could put the same two people in the same go-kart, two different people in the same go-kart, and one could say they've got horrendous understeer, and the other one might come in and say it's loose and he has oversteer. So, honestly, it's literally everything that you feel through your bum, through your hands and through your feet. And it's different for everybody. So I think the team have a, hard job. And, I think what's tough for us at the moment, because we kind of, not necessarily by choice, because we're bouncing around, teams trying to go where the drive's available. Obviously Andretti put us a good package together for Indy with Michael, but then they couldn't do Watkins Glen and Sonoma. They just want to do Sonoma. Sam came and said, we'll do the last two. So then we go back there. And, so much of sport and being a part of the team is about rapport. And communication and clear communication. And it was actually maybe a little easier going back with Sam than what it was joining a full new team in Andretti, because I know so many of the guys from my time there before. So, it's tough, and I think sometimes just continuity of people can be worth more than, anything else. I think being able to communicate clearly, and when I come in and say, hey, this is my problem, depending on, my tone and the severity of it, they know how much or how little to change to give me what I want. So I think that's something that's just going to keep building over time. I thought the team did, really good job at the weekend. I think we were a little conservative in our approach a couple of times, which I think cost us a little bit. But, the point of Watkins Glen was to get laps, get some experience. I asked them today when we were doing the feedback, will we take more risk in Sonoma? And, it was a pretty clear, yes, we will. We're not going to Sonoma just to make up the numbers, and we didn't do that either at the Glen. We want to go and, try and achieve something. I believe in myself, hopefully in a, not in an arrogant way, but just in a, I believe I can do this. I believe in the team. I know they've been quick, pretty much all season, and just keep working hard to try and get a good result.
Do you get a lot of coverage, or they follow you back home?
Yeah, the race was streamed live on like national TV. So I think with me, with Max Chilton, I never really know where Ed Jones is from. He says he's from Dubai, but he's basically British. So I think with all of us, we're getting some pretty good support back home. So we had a lot of really good feedback. My hometown is kind of small. It's kind of like the Indianapolis of America. You kind of have to, you have to be from there or spend time there to truly appreciate it. And I get really good support from my hometown. So, again, although the last year has been difficult at times and the way Indy finished was difficult, I have so many people, it seems like always in my corner, helping at least with, staying positive, keeping me motivated. And, people who care enough to invite me to come onto their show. It's nice to, have that little bit of support especially in America, because for as much as I feel at home here, there are moments where it feels like it's far away, about 4,000 miles away from home for me. But, that's I say it, pretty much every time I come here. But it is nice when I first moved here, you had me on quite quickly when I came, and then I kept coming on. And, moments like this, it is kind of nice to come back and, start to recognize people and all the familiar faces. And we just hope it continues for a lot longer.
Do you get, when you go to the racetrack, do the fans recognize you and hound you for your autograph?
Sometimes, I guess it depends what I'm doing. At Indy, I seem to get it. I couldn't even go to the bathroom, without having to sign something, which, when you're bursting, you kind of just want to kind of run and go. But at the Glen, I kind of walk past people, and you kind of give them that hopeful, look, like, you want me to sign that? And they were like, no, we're waiting for Hinch. I was like, okay, I know that guy. But it's funny every now and again. I actually did get stopped in Kroger the other day. That was cool. But that's like the highlight of people recognizing me outside of the track.
Having come from Europe and run, I'm sure primarily street and road courses, how long did it take you to get acclimated to ovals?
Probably still getting acclimated to them, honestly. Indy was only my 7th oval start. So, I won the Freedom 100 in 2015, so I think honestly I just need some time on them. But I think people from Europe have this really bad approach to oval racing, that just because it's a circle, it's going to be easy. If anything, I think it's more difficult than road course racing, because everything's taken to the next degree, and everything is magnified, and then you have to get the microscope out. So literally every small change makes a big difference, and I think that applies to the drivers, to the team, to the mechanics setting up the car. And it's tough, I mean, there's definitely a higher level of bravery, I would say, which was what I thought was so impressive about watching Joseph Newgarden's win at Gateway. I mean, you're hustling into what was turn 1 there, probably 180, 190, 200 miles an hour. And he just stove it straight in. This is a guy who's, here to try and win the championship. And it's tough, there's definitely a moment where, in Indy qualifying, your right foot's trying to come off the gas and your left foot just casually comes across it to push it down, because it's not nice feeling, going 240 miles an hour, 230 through the corner if everything's going well, and thinking you're going to have a moment. So I think the bravery level is different, and it's something that I'm getting used to, and just still getting used to it, honestly. Again, I think if we got a full season under our belt, then we would be able to, keep practicing, because, again, I think Alexander has shown what a great job he's done from when he came to Indy, and then, has totally validated that he's an oval racer. I know when he won the 500, it was on, what looked like a fuel strategy, but I think the way he's backed it up all year is, no doubt that he was going to be an Indy 500 champion at some point. So, we'll just keep trying and keep learning and keep moving forward if we can. And I mean, I love oval racing. Just need to do more of it.
What's it like when you're used to road racing and you're running, as you say, 210, 220 miles an hour, and you look in your mirror and there's a guy right there? You go, uh-oh.
Yeah, especially when they throw it in late. Everything happens so fast at that speed. I remember the biggest thing for me about Indy was, I think it was Gabby, was Connor, and there was me on the outside of that row, and we just walked onto the platform, and they did the driver intro, and I just looked around, and for anyone who's been to the Speedway when it's not May, you really realize how big that place is. But suddenly in May, it actually kind of looks small because there's so many people jammed into that place. There's just a lot going on. So then suddenly you're trying to, you're going into turn one, and we were, can't remember what row, we were 9th row, 8th row or something. So there's, 25-ish cars ahead of you and a few behind you, and your head's shaking about and bobbling about, and you can barely even look straight. Yet there's 2 guys on the inside of you, 20-ish ahead of you, and everyone's all trying to move forward as quickly as they can. I mean, going that quickly with someone next to you, I mean, you put a lot of trust in them, honestly, to to stay on their path, not to do anything crazy and chop you. I mean, I think the biggest thing from Europe, and I think there's a couple of other people who could, for people who've raced in Europe, again, Connor, Alexander, will be able to probably attest to this, is the level of respect that you have to have for somebody on an oval versus just road course racing is like a next level kind of thing, because you put each other at risk if something doesn't go right. And I think that was the hardest thing for me, was having to try and trust them, because they don't want it. They don't want it to happen to them. You don't want it to happen to you. So mutually, you just kind of you make a tough move, but you make a fair move.
What did you think of Joseph's?
I liked it. It was cool. I mean, I'm a racing fan at heart as well. So when I saw him stove in, I was like, "Yeah, go on, son!" And then was like, "Oh, actually, that was a bit harsh." But I mean, that to me, that move that he made was was a guy who was, I'm here to win the championship.
A guy that Carl will remember and used to do that a lot of time was Bobby Unser. He made passes on people. He went, "Holy Toledo, how the hell did he do that and survive? And how did they survive?" He and Al never were the greatest qualifiers, but come the end of the race, hello, where you been? And he would pass people. You go, "Jeez."
I think we can all agree that men in that era were just a bit more manly, just
Well,
a little braver. I think.
Well,
Formula One,
well, the difference,
rally cars.
Obviously, the difference is the cars are a whole lot safer now. And I hate to think, I've thought about this. What would Bobby Unser do today with a car he figured he couldn't get hurt in? What the hell? Let's go. Do you feel the cars are safe at the speed you travel, do you think? We've got a good car around us.
I mean, it's hard to argue that they aren't. I mean, for anyone who saw what happened to Sebastian Bourdais at Indy, and he's already back racing again only a few months later. I mean, before it would have been a horrible news that we would have been receiving for something like that. But I think the cars are, I got to be honest, the safest I ever feel, whether I'm driving on the road or wherever, is actually in the car. I think there was, the way that the cars are being designed now, and between IndyCar and Dallara and what they're moving forward with every year, it seems, is just getting better and safer, which I think is good, because it seems like the cars are getting quicker too.
Yeah, they
are. I think, unfortunately, every time there's an accident, maybe something new comes up, but they always come up with a solution. And these guys are forward thinking. They're trying to prevent as much of it as they can. Obviously, we all recognise it's still a dangerous sport, but I mean, there's never a moment where I'm going around thinking, I'm obviously thinking, I don't want to crash because this is probably going to hurt, but there's never a moment where I'm thinking, I'm jeopardising everything. I mean, can it happen? Of course, but I think the cars are pretty safe.
Yeah, and they're getting quick, and I can't wait to see how next year's car races, because the 2 drivers that have tested them have said, "Whoa, this is going to be fun next year."
I think they look awesome.
Yeah,
They're really, really cool cars.
So, and I made the mistake today of saying something about a new car, and he said, "No, it's not a new car. It's just a new body, new body work. It's the same car, same chassis." So it should be fun. Now, I know you said maybe twice, but let me ask you this. Are things looking good for something to happen to you next year?
I mean, honestly, yes, it seems like it. Maybe. No, I think, Alternation and SiriusXM have been supported me at Indy. They're supporting me at Watkins Glen and Sonoma, and they've already actually committed to supporting me into next year in a bigger program than what we've done this year. So how many races that will be, with what team it will be, I have no idea. We've had a couple of very serious conversations actually with deals that are starting to take a little bit of shape. So, I mean, the way I look at it, and I think this is fair, this year I did 3 races. I'm 100% confident that we're going to do more than 3 races next year. So that to me is a win in itself. I do recognise that everybody who gets to race IndyCar, or motorsport and cars in general, as the actual driver, are very lucky people. I'm very fortunate at the moment with great sponsors behind me that I'm going to do more racing next year, and obviously, like it's been a full-time program, who wouldn't? But it looks right now that the minimum we'll get is 6 races. We'll work towards a few more, but got to do well at Sonoma first. Got to keep trying to find a home, and hope one of these team owners is prepared to take just a little bit of a risk.
I have a feeling that's going to happen. I can't imagine it's not. And you're still a young guy. You're only, 25, 24?
24.
24. I'm sorry.
8 years on me already.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to play that game with you. We're here guessing all night.
You won't live long enough to catch me. Well, I'll tell you what. I know when I said, and one of your biggest fans is sitting over there in that black, right there. She's waving at you. When I said last week you were coming, she screamed.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
She's a nervous wreck. I don't.
Oh, I don't. Called out. Sorry. Oh wow. She'll be mad. I better amend that straight away. Now I feel really bad. Sorry. I feel awful.
Do you work out at PitFit?
So I actually work at a company called FitFlex Fly. They're a rival of PitFit, which everyone's rival, so why not add a little bit more?
That's all right, because
I like Jim though. Jim's a super nice guy, and I think they're doing a really good program over there. It seemed the way I looked at it, is I didn't want to crash with somebody on Sunday and then have to deal with that Monday in the gym as well. Especially when there's free weights that are being ready to be thrown about. So just better to kind of deal with it at the track and then leave it for a day or so.
I see. Besides that, you go to PitFit and look at all the records on the wall, and it's all Scott Dixon. And you got to try and beat him.
I mean, just that guy just seems to be setting records everywhere.
Yeah.
You should give, even in the gym. Really? In the gym as well?
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's disgusting. Oh, well.
Oh, well.
Listen.
I guess he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's a pretty good shoe. We wish you nothing but the best. Very glad to see you back and get a shot at it. You did well at the Glen. I mean, you moved ahead. In fact, you were up a little farther at one point, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we had a little too much aero on the car, and although I got forward, I kind of slipped back, but the end was good.
Did you set the car up to kind of in between wet and dry?
We committed more to a wet setup because that's the direction we thought it was going to go, but
so that
the weather, there's only people who get it wrong consistently and don't get fired, so
yeah, so a number of did that, and they put too much drag on the car, and that held you back. So we wish you nothing but the best in Sonoma, and I'm going to keep my ear to the grindstone and hear something going on. I'm going to call you again.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for having me on tonight.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. Keep an eye on them at Sonoma. You never know what can happen. Jack Harvey. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. My next guest is here, and we'll be heading this way momentarily. In the meantime, let me remind you that Sam Pierce Chevrolet is in Daleville, just north here. If you want to find out the best prices in the country, you got to go to the country of Daleville to find them. And you'll also find out why it is that Sam Pierce is always rated at the top for customer satisfaction. When he sells you a car, he doesn't stand behind you, he stands alongside you. And he will stand behind the car, what it's to do. Just take I-69 north to exit 34, exit east 1 mile, and you won't miss him. He's a big dealership, and he's right there ready for you. Indy Racing Experience, they have the 2-seater that is the greatest ride you'll ever find out or try. And when you take it, you will find out why these people love driving Indy cars. So take it for a ride. You can go to IndyRacingExperience.com, find a date that can work for you, although that's kind of running out at the Speedway, but they're still running as far as I know. Call 317-243-7171 and talk to Shonda. Or if you can sign up online, which you can, in the promo box, put SJ1, you get a 50% discount. And you'll get the same thing if you talk to Shonda, extension 106. But take a ride. It is fabulous, and you will love it. Do you need insurance for your home, your car? You got a commercial property, you need insurance? See Mike Pardee at VP Insurance. That's what I did. He's taking care of me, and he can take care of you. And you let him give you a quote. You'll find out you get better coverage for less money. And when you have a problem, Mike is there to help you. Give him a call. The number is 317-248-0070. He's located at 5004 West 16th Street in Speedway. That's VP Insurance, 317-248-0070. Mike Pardee. And if you like vintage cars, you've got to subscribe to the Vintage Racing Quarterly. Just go to svra.com and subscribe to it. And now that Tony has controlling interests of Trans Am, they have a magazine out for that, and it is spectacular. So go to the website, svra.com. You can sign up for both. Great, great magazines. My next guest is a local guy. He has raced in Europe and learned the road racing world there. He won, as a matter of fact, races in Europe. Now he's got a full-time ride for the 2017 season with probably one of the greatest racers in the history of the sport, A.J. Foyt. He drives the number 4 car, Gateway. He had a great race, and this past weekend he had an equally great race and finished 11th and put the car in the trailer in one piece. Things are moving forward. We're going to find out what's going on. Please welcome the one, the only, Mr. Connor Daly.
Hey, guys. Thank you.
Things are picking up, aren't they? I mean,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
They're not?
Well, I mean, they are, yes. No, it is a good last 4 races now, really, just consistently picking up, which is nice. But we we're not aiming to finish 5th or 11th. We're really trying to take that next step. But it's just you can only go at a certain pace. You can only do what you can do. To what we've got and what we have the ability to make happen. So it is a nice step forward to at least be, we've eliminated all the failures, that we've had. Our cars have been very reliable. Things have been going well. And the racing has, gone well. There's just a few small things that are just, you have to be perfect in this world, and you have to do everything at the highest level when you're competing against, Roger and Chip and Michael and those guys. And, we're just, there's just a few things still that just haven't meshed well when, preparing for a race, with the Chevy kit. There's a few things that still just kind of get us, just small things. It's not anyone's fault. It's just like, you know what? We didn't know that was what we had to do with, the gears or whether, downforce level, certain things like that. So it's been interesting, but yes, it is getting better. Yeah.
And I got to think, changing the engine, changing the aero kit, you got to learn. You start from scratch pretty much. I mean, I'm sure Chevy will give you some directions to go in, but I was told today by somebody who knows, has some inside connection, said that Larry and AJ are quite pleased with where it's headed. They anticipated it would be a struggle because everything is new, a new Chevy, a new aero kit, but things are going in the right direction. They've got the right guys behind the wheel, and they got the right guys in the crew, and things are moving.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it does look bright. The future looks bright. I think, every time I've been in the shop, I'm in the shop every week, and, there's a lot of plans for next year. There's the off season, the list of things to do is quite long. So I like that. I like what we're doing. I think, Larry's calling my races now. It's nice to have him on my stand to see what's going on. He's kind of spent half and half, on the 14, and then now me. So I think he knows what's going on, which is really, really good. And I think Will Phillips is a very good technical director, because I think he sees the areas where we need to develop and the areas that we need to improve on, which is good. And, there is a big emphasis on next year, the future. So it's nice to be able to sort of clean up the end of this season and kind of have a race like Gateway, but Gateway we should have even done better than that, I think, and that's there's just small things that I think we know now that will probably help us next year because it's pretty much the same engine next year. But yeah, there's certainly an emphasis on the future, and I think we've made a lot of steps forward this year. But just no one really understands how difficult it is to make that switch as a smaller team, not Ganassi, and with hundreds of employees. We've got a lot smaller group, and just. It's just a lot harder than it looks, and there's just so many more pieces to it than people realize. But I think we've done a good job at the progression.
I think, and I've said this 10,000 times, that to me, motorsports is probably the ultimate team sport because everybody has a job and they all have to do their job. As I've said many times, if one of the linemen misses a block and Andrew Luck goes down, well, he'd get back up and dust himself off. But if somebody doesn't put a tire on right or a wheel on right or suspension comes apart, you got a problem.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's an incredible level of, as a driver, there's a lot of things that you just can't control, but there's a lot that every single person contributes to, and that, if everyone does their job perfectly, which is really difficult to do, then we have a really good shot at it. But, all of our guys are doing, a good job for sure. I mean, everyone is improving. Everyone is, getting more familiar with this kit. Our engineers are, there's things that we really started at Mid-Ohio with the tests there that have sort of taken our development to sort of just the next level, which has helped us at, Gateway. Pocono, we struggled a little bit. But we actually, our car wasn't bad there. We just struggled only in turn 3, and that killed us at the end with the green flag stint. But yeah, other than that, the stuff that we worked on at Mid-Ohio has helped us at the ovals and the road courses. Even Watkins over the weekend. Watkins, I think we got absolutely robbed because our car was so good, and we just missed on 2 small things that really held us back from progressing forward. So it's a shame that we couldn't take advantage of that because I think. We probably could have fought for the top 5 again, but it is what it is.
Now, you're learning this car and this aero package and everything. Now, next year it's completely different. Now, of course, everybody's starting from the same place.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of testing that you guys have that you'll get to test so you can test the car so that by the time the season opens, you'll understand it?
Well, you're assuming that I have a job already for next year.
Well,
I hope so.
I would hope.
Yeah, I mean, the plan is, I want to stay in the same place that I'm at. I want to be in the 4-car again and be with those guys and be with the team. So yeah, I mean, I don't even think we'll get a car assembled until like December. You know what I mean? So I don't know when all of these things will be taking place. I think more of our testing and development is shaker rig stuff, wind tunnel stuff, that we're going to do first before we actually get on track. Should all progress in the right way and I re-sign my contract, et cetera. So yeah, we'll see. I think I'm excited for the new car. I mean, I really like the fact that it could sort of just at least be a little bit of a more even playing field. I think the engine development will really there will be a difference there, I think. But I think Ilmore and Chevy, those guys know what we need to do. The Honda's got a lot of power. And with the cars having the same aero kit, that power will really come into play. So Chevy, I obviously have a ton of faith in. I mean, those guys have won for years, so I have a feeling they'll be doing a lot of work on the off season, and it'll end up being extremely close and competitive yet again. But yeah, I think the sort of even playing field will be exciting for everyone the whole series. And hopefully more cars and teams and stuff like that.
It looks like there could be a couple more teams and 2 or 3 more drivers, which seem to be because there's some real good talent on the outside looking for a place to go.
Yeah, I mean there always is. There's always more drivers on the outside than there are on the inside. So it's there's a lot of really cool opportunities. I really hope Carlin and Junkos get their teams off the ground full time. I really hope Harding full time. That's obviously awesome. I'm hearing that they might even run 2 cars, which would be cool. So yeah, all that is very exciting for sure, and I think we need it. I think this series it's time for that next step to kind of get back to 24-ish full-time cars. I think that'd be really cool. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Now, I would be foolish if I didn't ask you. Obviously, you come in, you look massive. It's your new diet.
Oh yeah.
What got you started on that? Where, why?
I just watched a Netflix documentary. That's all. No, I mean, I don't know. I watched this documentary on Netflix, and I was like, well, I'll try something new. Why not? Give it a shot. And yeah, I mean, I've always been a bigger guy. I've just sort of been that's just sort of the way I've always been. And yeah, it worked. I mean, I'm trying the vegan diet for those who haven't known or followed along, and it's not fun. But it worked. I mean, I lost 15 pounds in like 6 weeks or whatever. And, that's helpful. I mean, there's big drivers like Graham. I think he's always been the heaviest driver just because he's like 6'2" or whatever, and he's still winning races, obviously. So the weight really hasn't been a big thing in the IndyCar, because they sort of try and even it out, based on kind of the heavier drivers. So that's nice, but I think it's given the team more freedom to move ballast around or things like that, or use different body work that might be lighter, or certain things that we need to use on the car, sensors and stuff like that. So yeah, it worked. Lost weight. I'm still doing it, at least until the end of the season, and then we'll see what happens.
Vegan diet.
Yeah.
I understand that you got several emails recommending places to go and foods to eat and all that kind of stuff.
I did. Yeah, I met your friends in Watkins Glen. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's apparently a lifestyle. I didn't know that a lot of people love it. And I mean, I'm just sort of doing it.
Now, you were to be here 3-4 weeks ago and didn't make it. And it turned out you were doing a piece for the Food Network.
Yeah.
When does that air?
I don't know yet, to be honest. But the chef was at Watkins Glen. We got him in he was the guy who did the fastest seat in sports. That was the guy who I did the show with. Yeah. Yeah. So it was fun.
So did you prepare stuff, or did he prepare it? And
No, I was like a local, just like a local guy, like a local. I don't like to use the word celebrity because I don't think I'm a celebrity at all. I'm just a guy who lives in Indiana, but that's what I was used for.
Well, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to think that you probably got as many fans as a lot of drivers have. You've got a lot of people following you. I'm sure you're being followed in Europe because you raced over there for a number of years. That people are keeping up to what you're doing, how you're progressing, and I think that's great. I think it's good
I
for
mean,
the series.
I love. Yeah, I mean, I love that people enjoy what we do. You know what I mean? I like because I like to do this job. I like to interact with everyone that I can. If it's after a race, every race this year, I've been really just angry, but I think that's just normal. I think there's just, especially after Watkins Glen, I sort of felt bad because there's been a lot of things that have happened. Obviously, like if you crash, it's bad, but I was just absolutely furious after Watkins Glen because I knew we had a good car and there was literally just sixth gear. If it was just a little bit longer, we could have passed like so many people. It was amazing, and it's just something small like that just limits you, and it's just it really makes me upset because I think we could have just, there's just small things that I just want to do that for my team, my guys, because they put a lot of work into it, and I think obviously the fans, everyone that comes out to that race, I really want to try and do the best for them too. So. I'm working hard at this, and I'm trying to be happier after races. But I was like, after that one, I was just I was up to the rev limiter literally on track and off track. So, but I love everyone. I do. I really do.
Well, I got it. It was probably somewhat before your time, although you might have been out at the track when AJ got into I forget what it was that happened to him, but he gets out of the car. Takes his car apart, starts beating on the suspension to try and straighten it out. Yeah. He's a guy that he was there to win. He didn't care how.
Yeah, I mean.
And so to listen to you and being upset with things not going right, that's got to me, it's got to be right up his alley.
Well, I mean, I think he sees what's going on too. I mean, AJ, he's still there, is still paying attention. Still knows everything right after the race. What happened. What's going on. So, yeah, I mean, I think. I don't know. I mean, I'm really hard on myself as well, but I think I just need to, we just got, we've got to keep working on this. It's if we're rewarded with all this hard work that we've done this year and over the off season, if next year we can win a race, you know what I mean, it would just be the biggest thing for our group because of what we've gone through this year. So hopefully that's on the cards for next year.
Well, it would seem to me silly to have spent a year with you guys learning the cars and all the work you've gone through to get the car where it's competitive, to throw everything out and start all over again, because that's where he is this year, starting all over again essentially.
Yeah.
And he's got two good drivers. I mean, Carlos is no slouch either.
No, I mean, Carlos is very talented. Absolutely. I mean, he's a really good driver. And yeah, I don't know. It's the easiest thing to do is to blame the drivers. If a team's struggling or something like that. But I don't. No one's thrown blame at anyone really. I think this year, which is really nice. I think we've all been quite mature about what's been going on and the development path that we've been on together. So, I've obviously I've told Larry and AJ that there's no place I'd rather be really for next year is to kind of continue to grow what we've been working on, and even me, I'm still learning myself. I mean, this is only my second year. I have to keep remembering that. It's Carlos's fifth, and I can see where his experience comes in, and it's a lot. There's a lot of things that he does, especially in qualifying, that just takes it to another level. And I'm just like, you know what? That's something I can learn from as well. So it would be good to have him around also.
How much did your running in Europe and all the tracks you ran there, how much did that help when you come back here and you run the Watkins Glen or you run the street courses? Did all that experience, can you bring it here and use it?
Yeah, I mean, I think any racing experience we're using at this point, but it's more what I learned last year. That I want to develop. The European stuff, that was just all kind of the pregame, and it was building a foundation. And now that we're here at this level, it's using that foundation, but then also continuing to build the pyramid. You've built this big base, but you got to build it all the way up still.
I got a question here. It says you have driven cars with downforce coming from below rather than above. What is your take on a new car where the downforce is going to be most of it's under the car?
Yeah, I mean, downforce coming from the floor is efficient. It's quite good. It allows cars to run closer than all the crazy topside stuff we've got right now. We've got about 9,000 wing flaps. But I've heard different things about the new car and the testing, and that the wings are actually quite inefficient. So we'll see. I mean, I think as long as the floor is super efficient, it sort of doesn't really matter. Whether the wings on the top are obviously going to produce downforce no matter what. But, I'm just curious to see how effective they are and how close we can run. But also, the cars will be slower for sure than this year, because they're just, we've got like 6,000 plus pounds of downforce, and we basically cut that in half, for next year. So it's one of those things that, if the cars are going a little bit slower, they won't be a lot slower, but a little bit slower, I think the racing, could be better. And obviously that's the goal. If we can continue to improve the racing, which I think the racing is quite good now, but, short ovals and stuff like that, I think we can improve there, and that would be fun. I would enjoy to be a part of that.
And Oriole and Juan Pablo have said that they think this is going to be a great car because you can run close and you don't have all the dirty air to contend with.
Oh, they're getting paid to say that.
Well, I suppose they are.
But yes, I think they're right. I haven't got to talk to either of them yet, but I have heard positive things for sure. And it looks good. I think it looks great.
Yeah,
the oval
nice
car is interesting, but I love the road course car. I think it looks really nice.
Yeah, I like getting rid of that rear. Is that my
Is that you?
It must be. I don't know.
This guy. I thought he was a professional. Come on.
Nobody ever calls me. Are you kidding? This is a text from something. I don't know. You are now at the peak of American racing. This is what you aimed at. Is it what you anticipated? Is it better than what you thought it would be? Is it more fun? Is it more work?
That's a really good question. I haven't viewed it any differently than, I guess, the years coming up. I still see it as the same thing. I mean, you're always trying to win. You're always trying to get better. And it's sort of just a never-ending cycle. I think there's there's a certain I've still never had a contract longer than a year, so I'm still always fighting for a job. So you have to continue to just, I mean, you can't make any mistakes. Can't do anything like, you always have to, the pressure is always on. And I don't really feel that. I mean, we've had literally like one crash all year this year. And that's been really nice. We've had a lot of good things happening this year. I've reduced my mistakes. We've improved in qualifying. So I've taken sort of a step forward. Most tracks this year I've done better in qualifying than last year. It still is not great, so that's still obviously an area that I need to improve on. But overall, the consistency and sort of continue to produce better in qualifying is getting better, and that's just what I don't know. Maybe it's just burned into my brain that it's just a constant game of improvement. Okay, what's the next step? What's the next step? Okay, well, do I have a job next year? All right, well, let's do that. You know what I mean? And weekend to weekend. So I think it's really cool, obviously. Like, I do enjoy it. I think I haven't enjoyed it as much this year because of obviously how difficult it's been, only because it's been a 1-year contract. You know what I mean? Like, I think about it as I don't want this to, end my career because it's something out of my control. You know what I mean? I'm doing the best I can. It might not show in a results sheet, but I think I'm very confident that I will remain with my guys this year because they see the effort that I'm putting in. That losing the weight and improving in certain areas. You know what I mean? So I think that's good. So as long as we can, I think next year I'll be a lot happier because I think I have learned a lot this year for sure. And, next year we just take the next step. All right. We need to improve here. Or, as a team, I think we'll be on the next level of development and setup and improvement. So it will be, I think it will be cool. You have to go through years like this. I think a lot of people have years like this in their career. And, we have fought for a lot of, good positions in the last, couple weeks. So, Sonoma would be, just nice to cap it off again in the top 10. I mean, we're not getting too greedy with it. We're not saying we're going to go out and win. But if we go out and finish top 10, top 5, and that is like a win for us after the year that it's been. So it's not what I thought it would be, being a professional racing driver. But I love where I am, obviously. I mean, I have a job, and it's driving racing cars. So that's really, that was the goal when we started this when I was, 10, is to do this as a job.
Now, what's it like to have a guy that you can talk to and get advice from, like A.J. Foyt?
Well, I mean, he's great. It's, I think he's been really good to us this year. He can see the struggle that we've been going through, but he gets it. I mean, he knows what's going on. I mean, he can see it. And even Larry, I feel bad for Larry because, Larry's putting so much into this himself, and I know he wants to win so badly just for ABC more than anything. But, just for our group of guys and, the mechanics that have been there for, 10 plus years that, they've only had one win, with Sato in the sort of the ABC era. So it would be really cool to, get that another win for that group, especially the guys that have been there for so long. So, I love that Larry and AJ are racers and that they're there and that they're always, pushing for us, for their drivers. You know what I mean? I feel like part of the family, which is really cool.
Have you talked AJ into trying to
Thanks.
Have you talked AJ into doing the vegan diet yet?
I don't know. He laughed at me. Yeah.
Gee
He
whiz.
laughed at me, but then he was like, "Good job." And I was like, "All right, thanks."
Yeah, I can see him giving up his.
And then he ate a cookie right in front of me, and I was like, "That's funny."
And then I hear for lunch he has chicken fried steak every day, so that's a good one.
I haven't seen. I don't think I've ever seen him eat a meal. I don't know. Maybe he does it in secret, so we don't see what it is. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Excuse me. The competition in this series is probably, in my opinion, is probably the best of any series in the world. I mean, on any given day, any team can win, including yourself. I mean, you look at Dale Coyne,
Yeah.
a little tiny team like that, and they're competitive.
Yeah, but I mean, they took the next steps of development. They got an incredible group of people up there. They added to their incredible group of people. I loved working with those guys, and I could see where we were going. I mean, obviously we had a lot of great finishes last year and got on the podium, and there was a lot of good things about that. And I was hoping to stay. Obviously, you know what I mean. That would have been awesome. But yeah, they've done a great job this year, and I can see us doing the same thing next year. It's a puzzle. You got to put the right pieces in the right places, and Dale definitely did that with both the drivers and the engineers and everyone there, and where he spent his money to kind of sort of bring it to the next level. So I think we can absolutely do that too. We've got a great group of people, and we're going to build, and we're going to continue to add more people, I think. So that would be really cool. And obviously, the drivers in the series are incredible. Really, really, really talented guys. And I mean, even Jack. Jack was my teammate in GP3 in 2013, and he's a very talented driver. And I think that's awesome. I mean, I didn't know that he was doing 6 races next year, or hopefully, but I hope he gets the full season. That would be awesome, because I think he deserves it. And obviously, some of the lights guys, I'm sure will be making the move as well, as I've been reading in the interweb. But yeah, it would be. I mean, the more drivers, the better, because I think it just broadens our base of talent and the amount of people that can go fight for wins every weekend, which is fun.
Well, I think, as you pointed out, AJ knows what's going on, and I got to think that he watched you with Dale and how things progressed and what happened, and I think he sees it. He could do the same thing with his team and help.
I would
him,
love
it's
to.
Everybody's team. I mean, you can have a great crew, but if the driver's no good,
It's easy. Yeah, if the driver sucks, you can't do anything.
I was on a team. They had drivers, 2 of them. I won't say who they were, but I can assure you, the crew said even if everybody else dropped out, this guy wouldn't win. And you,
yeah,
and
I've seen plenty of those drivers out there.
There was early on. But to have a crew that has a driver that they know, we give him the car, he has the talent and the capability to win. That's when everything starts to fall into place. I
think that's, that's what motivates people too. I think, our finish at Gateway really, I think, a lot of the guys were pretty pumped up about that because, I did make a mistake in that race. I slid through the pit box and we fell back to last. And so that was on me. I had never done that in my career, slide through a pit box. And I did it. And I was like, well, we were running 9th or something, and now we're in 17th. But I had to then put it on myself to do everything I could because I knew he had a good car. And so that was just every restart past 5 cars or something, whatever. And it was just, I threw everything at it that I had. And to do that then on the last restart and be fighting for, with Elio, a guy who led most of that race, I think everyone was pretty pumped up about that. And I was happy about it. I was actually just mad that we weren't fighting for a podium because I think we could have been there, but it was cool to see how pumped the guys were about that because that's what I want to see. I mean, I want to see everyone, rewarded for what they're putting in as much as I'm putting into this as well.
And a little track like Gateway, and once again, the car rolled onto the trailer in one piece. You didn't take a lot of sandwich bags with parts in it.
Yeah.
And AJ,
a lot of sandwich bags with parts in it after that weekend. Jeez.
Well, one race left in the year, and
it's sad.
Well, yeah, to a degree, but I think get the new car and get working on it, and you can rest assured that I will be bugging in when I start hearing what's going on. When things fall into place, I'll call you again.
Well, I mean, I want to re-sign my contract at Sonoma, so I don't know if we're going to do that, but I mean, I'm pushing as hard as possible to get these guys to be like, hey, if we're going to do this, let's do it. You know what I mean? So hopefully we can all be happy and tied up as soon as possible. But you never know. I don't know what they're what's going on.
Well, there was
a lot of moving pieces. The off season is going to be really interesting.
Oh, yeah, and all the television talk, which you didn't hear because you were driving, but I was watching, and they kept saying, look, Alexander signed a 2-year contract. Napa came on board. He was happy with staying with Honda, so he didn't have to go anywhere. And look what happened. So, see, the same thing can happen to you. You sign a contract, you could be on the podium.
Well, that would be great, yeah. that would be fun. We'll see.
How many people here would like to see Connor on a podium? See?
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Hey, is there any chance that the car here is going to move to Texas?
No, definitely not.
No, they're going to keep them separated?
Yeah, I mean, people think that's a bad thing. I don't know why, because, I mean, we were actually able to, I mean, the Houston guys live in Houston, which is great, and they've got a lot of stuff down there, but we've basically got everything we need here as well, because, I mean, Indy is Indy, so you've got everything you could ever need. They've invested a lot in the team to where both shops have everything they need, and if we don't have something we need, we all meet up at the race weekend anyway, so we're all going to be there together. So it's one of those things that really helped us during the hurricane, obviously. I mean, all of our stuff was going to be in Indy anyway because we can fit all the cars. We can fit 4 to 6 cars in that shop. Both the trailers can be there. So, in this 3-race stretch between Pocono, Gateway, and Watkins, we were based in Indy every time, both cars. So I think it's actually quite nice. It reduces travel costs for the team. It reduces stress level for the team, I think. And my guys are based in Indy, and I think it works really well. I like it because I can go to the shop every week and go look at a race car, which I like to see and touch and be around. So that's fun for me.
And, of course, the electronic world, you can communicate just like you were standing next to somebody anyway.
Yeah, I mean, my engineer's here, and Will Phillips, he still lives in England. So, everyone's always FaceTiming. There's 2 engineers in Houston, so the level of communication is actually quite high. Every time I've been on there, they've got, live video conferencing going on, chatting with each other. So, yeah, I think times have changed a little bit, and it actually works. I think it works quite well. I'm very happy. I'm very happy to see and I'm just happy to see the level that has gone into the shop in Indy. You know what I mean? It could have been bad. They could have been lacking a lot of stuff, but they made sure that shop is stocked with everything it needs. So that's cool.
Do you think AJ needs a loan or anything? Is he okay?
I think he's fine. His horse just won like $1 million or something 2 weeks ago, or
really?
$750,000. Yeah, he's in horse racing now.
Oh yeah, he's been in that for a long time.
Yeah, he loves his horses.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I can remember some years back, and some of you might remember when his daughter was thrown from a horse, I think, and he was at a racetrack somewhere. He got on a plane, flew home, and shot the horse.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't surprise me
his
at
daughter,
all.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean he's big. I think he just bought another horse or something. He's big into it. He likes it.
Well, maybe you can get on keep the vegan diet. You can be on the horse.
Oh no, I will never get that small. Half of my body would have to disappear to be a horse jockey.
Well, I'll tell you what. I know everyone, your fans around here and around the country are glad to see you with Foyt. I think Foyt. I got to think when you leave Sonoma, you'll have a contract, but that's just my thing. What do I know about it? Nothing, obviously.
I do like the way you think. That is positive.
Well, we wish you nothing but the best, and
Thank
trust
you.
me, when things get put together, you'll hear from me again.
Hey, that's all right. I might have to come back in.
We'll have you there. Keep an eye out. Sonoma, number 4, AJ Foyt Racing, Connor Daly.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I want to remind you, for those of you that are vintage car fans, that the 2017 U.S. Vintage Grand Prix presented by Jaguar is this weekend, the 6th to the 10th at Watkins Glen International. So if you're out in the East Coast, you want to see some beautiful cars, that's the place to go, back to the Glen to see the SVRA. 6th to the 10th. You'll enjoy it. It's a great thing. Now, next week, my current scheduled guests include the Indy Lights champion, Kyle Kaiser, the gentleman who just finished just behind the winner at the Pro Mazda. He's been here a couple times and people really enjoy him. Anthony Martin is scheduled. And I think we should have, I've been told, he said he can make it next week. Dave Darlin will be here. So it should be a good show. Look forward to everybody coming back. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Till next week, Don Kay saying good night. And remember, when you come in for the Red Bull Air Show, you got to come to McGilvery's. Great food, great service, and the adult beverages are ice cold. So stop in then. Till next week, good night.